Why Diogenes would spit in the face of successful people. Picture this. Alexander the Great, the most powerful man on earth at the time, travels across the ancient world to meet a philosopher living in a barrel. He finds him lying in the sun, doing absolutely nothing. Alexander, impressed by his reputation, offers him anything he wants. Any wish, instantly granted. And the philosopher looks up and says, "Yes, actually, move. You're blocking my sunlight." That philosopher was Diogenes of Sinope, and if he saw the way we chase success today, he would not be impressed. He would probably laugh in our faces. Or worse, spit at our feet, which, according to historical accounts, he genuinely did to people he considered fake. To understand why, you need to understand what Diogenes actually believed. He was one of the founders of a philosophy called cynicism, and the goal of cynicism was radical. Strip away everything artificial in life and live according to nature alone, not according to money, not according to status, not according to what impresses other people, just according to what is actually necessary to be a human being. Diogenes didn't just talk about this philosophy, he lived it in the most extreme way possible. He owned almost nothing. He slept in a large ceramic jar in the marketplace of Athens. When he saw a child drinking water using only cupped hands, he threw away his one cup, deciding it was an unnecessary possession. He walked around during the day holding a lit lamp, and when people asked why, he said he was searching for one honest man, implying he hadn't found any yet. Now, why would this man despise successful people? It's not because he was jealous or bitter or a failure hiding behind philosophy. It's because he believed that most people who chase success are chasing the approval of other people, not any kind of real internal value. He saw successful men in Athens, wealthy merchants, respected politicians, admired generals, and he saw something underneath all that admiration: fear. Fear of losing their reputation, fear of what people would think if they lost their money, fear of being seen as ordinary. Diogenes believed that the moment your sense of worth depends on outside validation, you are no longer free. You have become a servant to public opinion, even if you technically own palaces and gold. He would say that a slave with no possessions but total peace of mind is more free than a rich man terrified of losing his fortune. This is exactly why he behaved the way he did toward powerful men. There's a famous story where Diogenes was caught masturbating in public, and when people expressed disgust, he simply replied that he wished hunger could be satisfied as easily by just rubbing his stomach. It's shocking, sure, but it made a philosophical point. He was demonstrating that shame is something society invents, not something inherent in nature. He wanted to expose how many of our supposedly serious rules are just performances everyone agreed to follow, without ever actually asking why. When Diogenes looked at successful people bowing, flattering, and performing politeness in front of powerful men, he saw cowardice, not manners. Cowardice, dressed up as respect. And this is exactly the moment with Alexander the Great that made Diogenes famous. Alexander stood in front of him, the single most powerful human being alive, and Diogenes treated him as an equal, or honestly, as slightly less important than the sunlight on his skin. He wasn't being rude for the sake of it. He was proving a point. Status means nothing to a man who has removed his own need for approval. And here's the detail most people miss. Alexander didn't get angry. In fact, he reportedly turned to his men and said, "If I were not Alexander, I would wish to be Diogenes." Even the most powerful man in the ancient world recognized that Diogenes had something he didn't: complete independence from other people's opinions. Now, let's bring this into today's world, because this idea hits differently now than it did 2,000 years ago. Think about what we actually celebrate as success today. Bigger houses, more followers, louder titles, nicer cars. Diogenes would look at almost all of it and ask one brutal question: does this thing make you more free, or does it make you more afraid of losing something? Because that's the trap. The more successful you become by modern standards, the more you usually have to lose. And the more you have to lose, the more decisions you start making out of fear instead of freedom. You stop saying what you think because it might damage your reputation. You stay in jobs you hate because you're scared of losing income. You perform confidence you don't actually feel because people expect it from someone at your level. Diogenes would call this an invisible prison. A very comfortable one, with soft furniture and a great view, but a prison nonetheless. And he would argue that most people never even realize they're inside it, because the walls are made of approval, comfort, and fear, not stone. This doesn't mean Diogenes was against ambition itself. It means he was against ambition built entirely on the opinions of others. He would probably respect someone who built something meaningful purely because they believed in it, even if it made them zero money and zero fame. And he would show total contempt for someone who achieved massive wealth and status purely to be admired, while feeling empty inside the entire time. So here is the uncomfortable question Diogenes leaves us with. If you stripped away your job title, your followers, your possessions, and nobody in the world knew your name, would you still respect yourself? Would you still feel like you were living a good life? Or does your sense of worth completely collapse the moment other people stop watching? Diogenes didn't live in a barrel because he hated comfort. He lived there to prove that comfort was never the thing making people free in the first place. If that question made you uncomfortable for even a second, sit with it. According to Diogenes, that discomfort is usually where the truth is hiding.